In realms long forgotten, there are tales of the Forest Kingdom, a place of honour and chivalry, known to some as the Land of the Purple Dragon, but known to all as Cormyr.
Hi, I'm Tilda, and I'm playing Hiram, a half-orc paladin.
Hi, my name's Carl. I'm playing Catcher Donahue, human bard.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm playing Badger, a forest gnome monk.
Hi, my name is Anton, and I play Balthazar, a Warforged Cloak of Azuth.
Hi, my name is Elle, and I'm playing Slate, a changeling druid.
Hi, I'm Matt, and I'm playing Zombo, who is a halfling rogue/warlock.
And my name is Dan. I shall be the dungeon master on this adventure. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing?
Hello.
Doing good, doing
Hello.
good.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. We have another jam-packed episode of Cormyr Echoes of War ahead of us. Episode 22 in our little adventure. It's got quite a lot going on, so who's ready to just jump straight in?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow.
Ha! Psych! We're going in.
Oh no!
Let's do it.
I was not prepared.
Sometimes help comes from the most unexpected of sources and leads us to the most unexpected of places. As the Cormyrean civil war grows in intensity between Raedra and Ezered, the Warhounds find themselves face to face with another threat to the nation, the Githyanki, led by the enigmatic individual known only as the Hunter. Last seen attacking Fort Lymira in the King's Forest and making away with the elven war wizard Rena Illyra, the Githyanki forces have implied a much more peaceful stance, as the Hunter's monstrously large astral ship floats above the eastern Stormhorn Mountains. Under instruction from the Dragonborn paladin Varaxis, the Warhounds, accompanied by Badger's mentor Shana, have scaled the perilous slopes of the Stormhorns and now find themselves face to face with astral pirates. Whilst there has been no aggression shown on either side, tensions run high. All we can do is wait and see what the leaders of both parties have to say to one another. We find the Warhounds in the shade of a tree in the courtyard of a ruined keep on the sides of the Stormhorn Mountains. As eyes flick from side to side with potentially nervousness, there are huffs, loud, hot huffs from the number of red dragons which surround you, all ridden by what appear to be Githyanki knights. Other Githyanki are spread across the courtyard in front of you, but none draw more attention than the large, horned, armoured figure in front of you, the Hunter. And Badger, you feel your fists involuntarily clench as the silent figure stares at you all, and from round the side of the Hunter's silhouette, you see a smiling moon elf face as Rena kind of looks to you all as if your friends have just come round for tea. "Oh, hello," she says to you all. As you look elsewhere around the courtyard, you see, you all notice a number of other individuals, and things of notice. Not only are there 4 red dragons around you, 2 of them sitting on the ramparts behind you. But over to your left, you notice what appears to be a number of Githyanki travelling backwards and forwards, carrying what appear to be large urns of some description, and they appear to be handling them with a great delicacy. Under the watchful eye of another female Githyanki who seems to be wearing considerably kind of less armor than the rest of the Githyanki, more kind of armor and flowing robes. Behind the hunter is another is a male Githyanki who seems to hold himself with some importance. He looks considerably older than the rest of the Githyanki in the courtyard. His eyes are kind of more deep set. They hold a bit more of a suspicious gaze about them, and you notice that part of his right ear seems to have been lost to time. And slung over his back is an improbably large and wide, flat-ended sword, if you could call it that. But yes, the moon elf looks to you, silhouetted by the crumbling keep behind her, and Rena kind of steps forward and, "Oh, Badger," she says. And as she goes to step forward, the hunter puts a hand out and stops the moon elf from approaching. The hunter turns to one of the Githyanki. Without saying a word, you notice one of the knights lead Rena away. The hunter tilts her head and says, "As you can see, the elf has not come to harm."
What do you need her for? Why did you even take her?
The hunter kind of tilts her head up to regard you, and you can just see the glint of eyes in the sockets of her helmet. And she looks to you and I had hoped that you would come here to discuss such matters, and I'm glad that you have come. She looks to you all and...
Yes, we have come to parley.
I
Yes,
have a question. Now, Hiram actually is doing this. Like, I have a question.
Okay.
So you wanted us to come to you and talk, but yet you said to keep we in on fire.
There's a raspy laugh that reverberates within the helmet. And the hunter's just like full on staring at you, Hiram, but seemingly addresses you all when she says, "It would seem that things have changed, circumstances have changed, and like the ephemeral astral seas, we change with them. Where once we stood as enemies, it would seem that the greatest benefit would now come from us uniting in common cause. That is what you material planers consider a good thing, yes?"
So what you're saying is you need our help?
There's the body, you can't see the facial features, but the body language, kind of like the recoil, makes it sound like she took borderline offense from the idea that she needs help from you. Like, it's just that dismissive, like her hands come up ever so slightly, almost defensively.
Look, we could trade barbs with one another on and off. That's going to get us nowhere. You clearly want us here for a reason, otherwise you would have turned us to ash at your gates. And we have come here for a reason. So how about we switch into a more diplomatic approach to this and be civil to one another?
The hunter regards you for an uncomfortable moment, Katya. The child speaks truth. Who I will only speak with the designated leader of your faction. Nominate who will speak and step forward.
Shall
Does
we
everybody
huddle
step forward?
Badger sort of goes to sort of breathes in as presumably Zombo cuts in.
So
That'll be me.
the hunter says that, and like as you Warhounds kind of look amongst yourselves, Shana steps forward.
Ooh.
I, Shana, speak on behalf of the Semberholm delegation. And the hunter tilts her head and, I do not know your face. And she looks to the rest of you. I still require an emissary for the Warhounds.
Group huddle? Group huddle?
Group huddle, just one second.
Sure.
That's-
So it's
Badger,
spreading in Chiron, right? I'm joking, people.
Yeah, Badger, are you comfortable with this?
I'm quite angry at her, but I can try.
You reckon you can not punch her for 5 minutes?
I mean, I'm
Tempting as it is.
Can I punch her after 5 minutes?
Okay, so I'm gonna say maybe someone less angry.
I was about to say I can go in your stead, Badger. I mean, talking is something I'm good at.
Yes.
You know.
Okay.
And if all else fails, maybe I can,
No.
Hey, if you cast a spell, we can all feed you lines and ideas as you're talking.
Oh, she suddenly cast a spell. It's a brilliant idea, Badger.
Hang on, Katya. We don't want her in a chat room, right?
Well, at least that way we stay in contact if we're separated.
Are you sure you want to cast a spell right now in front of everyone?
It's not a spell, is it? It's a part of how my brain works.
I mean, will it still trigger someone's
I guess if
magic senses?
I mean, according to Ezerad, it's a very rare power, so unless all these people have a very rare power, we should be okay.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble.
But at
I don't
least-
know how I feel about a gamble when we have this many dragons around us.
At least we stay in contact.
Hiram, you never like gambles, though. Let's be honest.
That's true.
Okay, I will go, but I'll also stay in contact with everyone. Sorry, Shana, can I borrow you a second?
Huddle, Shauna.
Huddle.
The wood elf turns to you and
Just give me consent. That's all I need from you. Just agree in your brain
for what?
for this.
It's okay, Drool's not going to be part of it.
Okay. So Katya, as you look at Shana, and she's just like, yeah, just give consent. And like your eyes flash white, and there's a as your minds link telepathically, and like you hear that kind of the loud, crowded room noise that kind of tunes into everyone's voices, and like Katya, as you're like, oh, because that was the cleanest you've ever done it. As you look up, every Githyanki is looking at you. Every single one. And the hunter is staring at you as well.
Catcher at this point steps forward. Catcher Donahue, representative of the Warhounds.
You think you would use your psionics to trick us?
Eep.
I hate being right, but I am right. I told you.
Zumbo will step forward at this point and just go, sorry about her. She's,
The hunter,
she don't mean anything by it.
the hunter looks to you, Catcher, and sort of like doesn't. But the body language is dismissing you. She will not parley with you if you're casting psionics. Zumbo, like, you step forward, the hunter looks to you and sort of like sizes you up. Hiram, from behind you, Emily pipes up and, I thought Badger was the leader of the Warhounds.
Hiram is going to lean down and whisper, Badger is feeling a bit punchy at the moment.
The hunter seems to have heard Emily, and the hunter turns to look at you, Badger, and I remember you, she says.
Ooh.
You stood in defiance against me. You stood in defiance against my dragons. You have a warrior spirit.
Yes, well, it didn't get me very far, did it?
The hunter tilts her head and it gave me it gave you enough to want me to call this meeting.
Well, very well then. Let's talk. And Badger steps forward confidently next to Shana.
As you step forward, Shana kind of side eyes you and sort of like very discreetly kind of mouths, "Are you okay? Are you all right?"
Badger just looks up at her and gives her a single nod.
The hunter looks to you, Catcher, and drop the telepathic bond.
I'm not 100% sure how.
Oh god.
As she,
I'm still rather new to this.
the more elderly veteran Githyanki steps forward and says, "Then either you learn how to do it quickly, or we stop it for you."
Hiram is at this point is going to stand up a bit straighter and say, like, you touch her, you are going to regret that.
As you say that, one of the dragons growls and flaps its wings.
Yeah,
Okay.
fuck off.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I did kind of say that I wanted diplomacy here. You are not acting in good faith. I was attempting to keep my people in communication, but I will try my best to undo this.
Okay. You will be okay if you concentrate really hard. Tell you what, let's see how well you can concentrate. Says the DM.
Making Yoda noises.
That's your spellcasting stat. So roll me a charisma ability check.
Ooh.
Okay. As you roll a
31.
nat one,
Oh,
you squinch your, you try to you're looking for like the kick button for Badger, but as you concentrate and try to kind of unravel that, the telepathic bomb fizzes out and you lose concentration on the spell. And like as that happens, you notice that all the Githyanki seem to have noticed, and like the grizzly old Gith just kind of nods. "That wasn't so hard, was it?" he says. You also, the seven of you notice, however, that the hunter is now looking at this old Githyanki, and you hear her say quietly, "Get back in line." And the old man glowers for a moment and then steps back. and you see like some of the Githyanki knights kind of smirking and sneering slightly.
Now that has been sorted, are we good to continue?
The hunter. Yes, I believe we are. And she looks to you, Badger and Shana, and please follow me. And the hunter, just the hunter, begins to make her way inside the keep. The keep itself is a state. It is decidedly kind of in ruins and like it's just decrepit and falling apart. Yeah, she makes her way to the side of the keep and waits for you. Like Shana looks to you and kind of gently weaves her way between the Githyanki, keeping an eye on the dragons as she goes.
Badger's gonna turn, shrug at the group, and say, "See you in 5 minutes."
Yeah, you can do it, Badger. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Deep breaths.
Okay, so the hunter and Shana, you see them. Like the hunter heads into this kind of what appears to be a large room. You get the feeling you can see Renna at the far side of the room sat on this kind of old crumbling stone throne, and she's just kind of like waving her legs slightly, like banging her heels on the front of the throne, just kind of humming to herself. But you notice like a Githyanki knight is just kind of off to the side watching her, who then turns to watch you as you go past. You can see kind of debris and part of the ceilings collapsed in. The hunter heads up a set of stairs. Shana follows.
Yeah, Badger's gonna follow, cast a concerned glance over at Renna, and carry on up the stairs.
Okay. Let's bring the other players up here. So everyone else should be able to see upstairs now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Correct.
And the hunter, without kind of breaking stride, opens a door and steps into an open room. You feel like this room was perhaps once some sort of study or, a study of some description, but now it's just become like the wood is mouldy and warped, covered in cobwebs, and the upholstery is rotten and borderline slimy. And the hunter, sort of like waits for you to walk in, closes the door, there's a shh as she pulls the silver greatsword from her back, and then props it against the wall. She looks to you, and I don't believe I have formally introduced myself, she says. But first, I request to know your names, your formal positions.
Nyx Badger Ningle, leader of Warhounds.
Shana, what's her surname?
Whatever you like.
Shana Wildbranch, Master of the Elemental Arbor, Delegate of the Semberholm, member of the Semberholm delegation. And Shana bows, kind of looks to you, like gives you a quick glance as she's bowing, Badger.
Oh.
The hunter stands in front of you impassively, and then just puts two hands on the side of her helmet, drops her head slightly, and like begins to lift the helmet. As the helmet comes off her head and is put on the table with a resonant thud. You see in front of you. Where's the button? There it is.
Ooh.
The face that you see in front of you is a lot softer than some of the Githyanki warriors and knights that you've seen before. Her hair is pulled back in a tight bun, and you can see streaks of it's a dark kind of russet red with streaks of brighter red and black running through it. You notice there's a number of what appear to be either tattoos or war paint or some sort, a mix of dark browns and whites, forming lines that run up and down the Githyanki's face. Her ears are pierced in multiple places, and like her eyes are similar to her comrades, yellow with a very kind of lizard-like look to them. There appears to be kind of black makeup around her eyes as well that give her a much more ghoulish look. And yeah, she kind of looks to you and nods. She looks at you and nods, and my name is Zinoleth, the Hunter, commander of the 74th. And she gestures to the two squishy sofas and, please, make yourselves comfortable, she says, as she draws a wooden chair out and gently kind of lowers herself into it. So, as you all take a seat, we find the others kind of stood, like the tension in the courtyard has not diminished in any way, shape, or form. Like the knights kind of sway slightly on the backs of their red dragons, and the dragons kind of look at you malevolently, like a cat watching mice. And like having watched the hunter step in, or Zinuleth walk in with Badger and Shana, the old Githyanki steps forward to you and regards you all. I understand that you stood in open defiance to the hunter, and you live to tell the tale. That is an impressive feat, to be sure.
It seems like she was only really after one thing, so we didn't really register on her periphery. I think it's only because Badger attempted to recover Renna that the hunter took notice.
I was hiding in a whale.
The old Githyanki nods and she does not take kindly to people standing between her and her goals. That much must be said, he says. He turns to regard you all again, and he looks to you, and you possess the true art.
Me?
You exhibit psionic capabilities.
Yes, there's that word again, psionic.
Yeah, you don't. How is it that you are able to manifest them so capably yet have no functioning knowledge of them?
Because I didn't fully understand them till probably about a couple of weeks ago. I'm sorry, how do you lot all realized what was happening? No one ever notices.
There's like a cruel laughter that spreads throughout the courtyard from everyone that's within earshot. And one of the knights turns and... Kanoth, she questions. The child questions how we know about psionics. And the old Githyanki has this kind of smirk, and we Githyanki are some of the most proficient psionic users in the universe. We use it. It infuses our way of life. It enhances our martial prowess. We combine it with the arcane arts. We use it to pilot our ships. On the astral sea, there are no currents to guide our boats, to guide our vessels. They are maneuvered purely through the power of thought. This is...
Catcher mumbles quickly to Zumbo. Keep that in mind.
This is...
Noted, Katya, noted.
It is one of the greatest gifts and weapons that the Illithids were stupid enough to bless us with.
Well, that's interesting. I have no idea where my abilities came from.
The Githyanki looks to you and... Perhaps if you cultivate this power, you could use it to achieve a great many things. And there's like this predatory look in his eyes as he says it.
So, why does she who hates hate it so much? If it's such an integral part of your society, why did she take such great offense to me linking my compatriots together?
So the old Githyanki, whose name you've discovered to be Ka'anoth, he kind of tilts his head and, in your society, is it not rude to eavesdrop?
Just less eavesdropping, as they can't hear what is being said, only what is being thought.
And he looks to you, and like his face almost says, "Is there a difference?"
Yes, because my thoughts are my own.
So the old Githyanki kind of looks to you and, Zinuleth is a proud warrior. She normally favors her battles one-on-one. Perhaps she is feeling confident bringing two opponents to battle.
I see.
But like as he says it, there's a sneer. There's a dismissive sneer in his voice as he says it. You pick up on. Actually, I say you pick up on.
Excuse me.
So, if I could get an insight check from everyone outside.
This will be a 1 now.
Yes.
Just you watch.
22.
18.
There you go. Look.
Not far off.
Yes. Much better.
Aw.
Okay.
20.
And I will do a roll for Slate.
Hey.
So, okay, yeah. So, yeah, Katya. So, Katya, Balthazar. I tell you what, actually, Balthazar, you kind of, like, Katya, you pick up on it, but Balthazar, you're the one to kind of notice there's this almost like a distaste in his tone.
Are we going to start another civil war, aren't we?
Yeah, she the old Gith looks to you and she is not normally a one for talking. So this is, I suppose you could consider this growth.
Yes, you seem pleased with the growth.
The Githyanki kind of looks to you and I think that her approach should be a lot more measured.
Kaja looks to everyone and then looks back to a second. What is her goal here?
The old Githyanki kind of looks to you.
One psionic to another.
You can see him kind of clench, like some of his teeth ever so slightly bare as he clenches on his back teeth. And like as you look around, the more perceptive of you, what you notice is that the Githyanki that you fought before had, in inverted commas, like uniforms that were very similar to the hunters, in color coded for your convenience, if you will. But what you notice is that Karnoth and the robed Githyanki over on the far side, the Githyanki traveling backwards and forwards on the left hand side of the courtyard, their kind of regalia, like what they're wearing, seems to be different. And you kind of get the impression that actually there's two separate groups of Githyanki in this keep.
Okay.
And Karnoth just kind of tilts his head and I hadn't thought to ask, he says.
I see.
Sorry, out of character, did we get a name for him?
Karnoth.
So his name is Karnoth.
Awesome, thank you.
Karnoth.
Yeah,
did he say his name, or did
was
he
said
just
by the
accidentally drop it?
yeah,
No, it was
so
said by the one
of
mocking.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like you notice the dragon riders are like the hunters, wearing the hunters' colors. Some of the warriors kind of lurking around the keep are also kind of wearing the same colors, but like the vast majority of the grunts, if you will, seem to be part of Karnoth's group.
Okay, because I feel like Slate at this point would definitely comment on the different uniforms.
So Chiron steps forward and are these like two different fashions that kind of percolate around Githyanki society? Is it? I mean, I have to say that what you're wearing is much more flattering to your hips than what all of these lot are wearing. I mean, they look positively frumpy up on their dragons, don't they? Karnoth is just a little bit perplexed by the old man, and he looks to you and you strike me as a group of inherent chaos. Yet you seem to travel with a common purpose. That must be difficult at times. Yes?
We make it work.
Strong leadership's
Most
the
of the
key.
time.
He looks to you and he sort of like he looks over his shoulder into the keep and do you have faith in your leader?
Sure.
Yeah.
Lots.
What about you?
He so he turns to look to you, Balthazar, and like his eyes have narrowed. I have faith in my own. I have faith in Vlakith.
Wait, who's Vlakith?
One of the younger Githyanki from nearby just kind of blurts out, "She is the Lich Queen. She is the God Empress of all of Githyanki. And Kartanoth shoots the younger warrior a withering gaze, and you just kind of see this Githyanki just kind of slink off into a corner. And yeah, the old man steps forward and
What did he? Sorry, Dan. What did he call her? The Lich Queen of
Vlaakith.
Can I
The
just
Lich
say, as a
Queen.
non-English speaker, I am loving the fact that you managed to put the worst consonant to pronounce into every single name.
You are welcome. Yeah, Vlaakith the Lich Queen. And for those of you who would be interested in a history check, like it's gonna be a high one.
Yeah, I read about this shit.
24.
No.
23.
Wow. Okay, so oddly, Balthazar, you kind of sit there and go, I don't know who that, and it's Hiram and Katya that come steaming in from behind, and yeah, so between the two of you, Katya, you've probably heard like stories of this, like it's like this fairy tale story.
It's go to bed or you get taken away by the Lich Queen kind of stories.
Yeah, so like, and Hiram, you've somehow read a book. Like
Hiram likes to read. You keep making these jokes, but Hiram likes to read.
No, I mean like the fact that the book exists in somewhere that you'd have access to.
It's a comic book.
So Vlaakith is known as the Lich Queen. She is the leader of the Githyanki. She resides in like their home, like their home city, if you will, called, one moment please, Turanath.
Oh, there it is again.
Yeah, every single name so far. There's a
Turanath. So yes, which is just like this megalopolis, metropolis. Like it's a big citadel city that afloat in the astral sea, and it's where Githyanki is. It's the Githyanki seat of power within the astral sea. Vlaakith is impossibly old. Like she's immortal, and because she, like, all Githyanki in the astral sea are immortal. In fact, actually, yeah, you probably learned about this when you were in the library with Balthazar in Arabelle. And yeah, she's immortal, and she was effectively the second in command when the original leader of the Githyanki, Gith, died. Vlaakith took over, and then she's not relinquished power ever since. But actually, the Githyanki like the way she do things.
okay.
But yes, so like Hiram, is you kind of like you, like Katya, you know about it. Hiram, you're the one that kind of vocalizes who Vlaakith is, and Kartanoth looks to you, tilts his head, and that is impressive for a hardlander to know, he says, and as he steps forward, he steps kind of up to you, and like Hiram, it's rare that someone's taller than you. This old man's just edging under like 7 foot, and he kind of sizes you up, and then he notices the gleam of Argentus on your back.
Mhm.
A silver blade. And he smiles at you, and it's this devilish smile. Are you sure you are not a Githyanki in a former life? And like saying that, you notice that all of the knights and him, all of their blades have a similar silver sheen that Argentus does. They're all silver blades. May I? He says, and he gestures to Argentus with an open hand.
You may, but before I give it to you, is there a cultural significance I need to know about? Like, is this me saying that? Is what kind of significance does this have?
he's standing. The feeling you get, he's. I say feeling you get. Let's find out what feeling you get.
I get nothing.
This is fine.
Just 7.
Off the back of a 7, yeah, you're staring at a Githyanki who's got a very big silver sword on his back, and he's asking for your big silver sword off your back.
Tell you what, I think here's going to say, tell you what, I show you mine if you show me yours.
Wee.
Hey. And like the corner of his mouth curls up in a sneer as he like there's a visible heft as he brings this blade off his back, and like hear him like he's had his front to you pretty much all this time. So as this blade moves away from his back, it dawns on you that the blade itself is about as wide as his torso. It's like the executioner's sword from hell, to the point where the blade seems so hefty. It's got a hand grip in a hole in the middle of the blade, so it could be used almost like a glaive, if you will.
Oh, hell yeah! And just I just out like, gimme.
And he smiles, and like he's holding his blade up with one hand, like, and the flat tip pointing to the ground, and he offers that to you as he takes Argentus. He takes Argentus off your hand, and then one-handedly he's just kind of, he seems to be kind of moving his hand around as if kind of testing its weight and the maneuverability of the blade. And like as you grab it, you
I mean, I am expecting it to be incredibly heavy,
yes,
judging by the balance.
yeah, there's a definite, and it punches a divot, like a groove in the earth at your feet as this blade kind of impacts the ground.
That is incredible. What's the move? What's the word I'm looking for?
Maneuverability.
Thank you, Dad.
What, of the blade?
I'm asking him.
Oh, sorry.
Like, do you prefer to just go in, strike as hard as you can, and just get out? Is there any kind of dexterity that you use?
So, like, you're looking at the blade, you're asking these questions. When you look up, like, you can all see that this old Githyanki is swinging. Like, you've seen Hiram like put heft into his greatsword, but like this Githyanki is one-handing Argentus, like swinging it around almost rapier-like. And there's like a flourish, like the Githyanki like spins, points the blade tip directly, like just inches from the tip of your nose, Hiram, and then with this unexpected speed, the old man crouches down, jumps up, and just slices one of the tree branches clean in a single swipe, one-handed. Like, and you kind of, oh god, because he's jumped a good like 10-15 feet straight up in the air, and then landed almost effortlessly. And
I assume catches like psionic radars going ping 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 ping.
yeah, you notice that some of the other Githyanki knights that don't seem to be part of Karnoth's group are just kind of rolling their eyes, but he turns to you and, like, in response to your question, Hiram, I find a juggernaut method works best for me. And then he kind of holds Argentus out in the palm of his hand, like just above the guard, and your blade is beautifully balanced.
Thank you.
Worthy to it is a worthy blade to wield, he says. And as he hands it back to you and he takes his sword, you just watch as he effortlessly, one-handedly puts it on his back, like Cloud Strife.
That is impressive.
There's like the one thing you do notice is as he picks it up, he almost, like, his face squints as if he's concentrating, and then like the sword just seems to effortlessly move in his hand after that point.
Ah, okay.
But yes, he sort of like looks to you all, and now he's had his fun. Please, excuse me, he says. And you see him kind of he disappears off to the other end of the courtyard, and is joined by the robe-wearing Githyanki, the female one, as these warriors just kind of back and forth, carrying more and more urns out. You watch as a red dragon rider flies down. The rider kind of jumps off, and you see these warriors kind of going around, and they've tied harnesses and ropes around these urns. And like they seem to be loading this dragon's, like the dragon's claws wrap around the sticks holding up these urns, and then they seem to be loading this dragon up. And yeah, as you watch, the dragon with a shipment of urns kind of beats its wings, dust billows out, fallen leaves blow around the courtyard, and the dragon takes off with its rider, carefully, very carefully carrying these urns up to the ship above.
I'm imagining Emily is quietly tracking them with a crossbow.
Is there anything, as you kind of wait patiently in the courtyard, is there anything of note that you lot want to say to one another now that Karnoth has wandered off?
So does anyone get the sensation that maybe Karnoth and the hunter don't see eye to eye?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can
Also-
use that later.
I was thinking.
Yeah. Also, did anyone else get the idea that the hunter had like a specific person in mind she wanted to talk to? And it was such a weird power play, wasn't it?
Yes.
Emily kind of looks around a bit sheepishly, kind of stubs her toe into the dirt, like kicks the dirt a few times with the tip of her boot. Well, she is the leader, she says.
Yeah, then just say so. I get it. Badger is very likable. Just own up to it.
And Slate, like Chiron, looks up and I wonder how she's getting on, he says.
Yeah, we all wonder.
In a tense room, Shana kind of looks to you, Badger, looks to the hunter, or as you now know her, Zinuleth, and yeah, Shana kind of puts her hands together, steps forward, and you have made a concerted effort to open diplomatic relations with Badger, the Warhounds, and presumably by proxy, Cormyr. What is it that you want from us, Zinuleth? And the Githyanki, now helmetless, looks to you and, in the forest, I was impressed by your tenacity. Some might call it foolhardiness, but in the face of inevitable defeat, you stood firm. I like that.
Okay.
It is not very often that it happens, but I am not ashamed to say that sometimes I am wrong about things. My scouts had been tracking the forces of your king for some time. They appeared to have built themselves up into a bluster. They had discovered some dark secret, and they seemed to want to unlock its powers. The rumors we were hearing about this artifact were worrying. They reminded us of the weapons used by an ancient enemy of ours in times gone past. This is why I dispatched my scouts. This is why we've took great interest in the elf that you call Rena. We thought that if your king was so desperate to find this elf, that whatever she knew would be of great importance, and therefore she held great importance to us.
Well, that's pretty much exactly what we were doing with her. We don't want this weapon getting into the king's hands any more than you do.
So Zinaleth nods. Whilst I admit I had not expected as much... She looks at you, Badger. As much resistance to obtaining Rena. Once she was in our possession, we delved into her mind. We wanted to know what she knew, what this Ezered was looking for himself, in the hopes that it would lead us to the source of the illithid infestation that currently plagues your lands. You notice...
Sorry.
Shana kind of takes a deep breath at the sound of the certainty in the Githyanki's voice as she says that. But it was to no avail. The elf's mind is broken, fragmented, tortured. But it is not by the hands of the illithid. No. Whatever secrets that elf has locked in her pretty little head bears no importance to us. So, I am more than willing to offer her back to you, to return her to your custody. With
Good.
one caveat.
What is it?
Your world is infested. Its underbelly slithers and writhes with the machinations of the illithid.
Ooh.
As of it haunts this world like maggots in a corpse.
Oh dear.
I wish to root them out, but I find myself unable to source their location. So, I will give you back the elf,
Mm-hmm.
and in return, I will charge you with eradicating the Mind Flayer infestation that plagues this land.
Yes, well, I mean, it's hard to argue with an opportunity like that. Whew! We eat illithids for breakfast in the Warhounds. No problem.
Shana is like Shana's kind of keeping her mouth shut.
And how hard can it be?
She has a thought for a moment and then looks up to Zinaleth and... But you said that Rena's mind was fragmented, shattered. If not by illithids as you thought it would, then by what? And Zinaleth looks to you and there was the distinct after effects of shadow magic.
What's shadow magic?
The Githyanki turns to you and the negative energy that flows from the shadow fell. Her mind is encased in it. It is corrupted by it. When her memories are literally clouded in darkness.
Oh.
She shrugs. But that is not what I was looking for, so I care not for it. She tilts her head. I don't know what this elf was doing, tampering with the practitioners of shadow magic, but perhaps she will get better one day.
What kind of people deal in shadow magic?
Shana looks to you and quietly whispers, "The Sharans."
Wait, Renna was caught up with the Sharans?
Shana has this kind of worried, like confused yet worried look on her face, like, and she kind of nods to you, like, presumably, maybe. Zinaleth, like, her body language says she couldn't care less, like she cares not. But then as the two of you are kind of whispering to yourselves, the Githyanki she's deep in thought, and perhaps as a goodwill gesture, when we were rooting through her mind, trying to find anything of use in that little head of hers, we did manage to unlock one memory. Well, the Gish did a very good job at rooting through it, but this memory, Renna's mind was strong in its defense, but this memory, it almost seemed like it was trying to escape. It seemed like it was trying to return to the light. And it was one word. Implacable?
That's useful to know, thank you.
The Githyanki nods. As like Badger, as the Githyanki, as she had her head down in thought and then kind of looked up. You notice a colourful glint, just kind of around her neck, tucked, just like kind of it rises up just from the collar of her armor, and it looks like this kind of shifting hue coloured necklace. And Shana happens to look at it, and it's a very pretty necklace you have there, Zinaleth. And Zinaleth kind of looks down and pulls out. It's like an amulet. It's about the size of the top half of a thumb. Top part of the thumb. It's a small rounded gem, and it just seems to shift through the hues of the rainbow, like erratically, randomly, like a mood stone that doesn't know where it's going. I keep it as a reminder for dark days.
I mean, I guess Badger's gonna get curious and ask, where's it from?
I presume you would perhaps have a warrior of your standing would have trinkets of a similar nature. Trinkets that remind you of adversity, of where you came from, a reminder that you can never stop, that you can never relent, you can never give in, that no matter how hard you try, you can always try harder. This is what this amulet reminds me of. It reminds me of a dark day in my life. It reminds me of the great tragedy that has brought me to this day, formed me, molded me to be the weapon I am now. Do you have anything similar?
I think Badger does.
Do you still have that box from his ears?
The stuff box.
Yeah, I think that was it.
It's not really a reminder of dark days, though, is it?
Just pretend it is.
Like this.
It's the ashes of my enemy.
Yeah. I don't know. Was there something else that you had in mind, Dan? That
Well,
I'm just
we've
not
got the
thinking
affiliate
of?
head.
Illithid head.
Ew.
Yeah.
I don't think Badger took that up with
Badger's
him.
not just carrying a.
Doesn't
dripping
Shada
elephant
have
head.
it? I'm pretty sure Shada's
Isn't
had it.
Shauna a reminder now of darker times?
Badger says, I don't wear trophies. I have memories enough of dark days that encourage me to keep working and fighting for what is right.
Not a trophy. A reminder. She insists. Before I became commander, I was but a knight in my clutch. We were celebrating. We had managed to find and eradicate a colony of the Illithids, of the enemy. We left none alive. We feasted on their remains. It was a glorious day.
Okay.
And then none of us knew what was happening. We never saw it coming. But in an instant, in a flash of light, there was a thrum of multicolor. We couldn't even describe, we couldn't explain it, but the elements, they shifted and warped around us. It was like reality was tearing itself apart all around us. There was some sort of explosion, and I watched as warriors that I thought of as friends were torn apart in this cataclysmic event. I was the only one left. And after all of it, everything that happened had been caused by one Githzerai. It was on that day that I adopted the moniker of the Hunter, and I did everything I could to search for him across the astral seas.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally drove my blade through that old man's heart.
Mm.
This, and she holds up the pendant on the chain around her neck. This is a byproduct of the weapon that he used on us that day. And it reminds me of the danger of oversight, of not being prepared and underestimating your enemies.
Mm.
She looks to you. So be glad you are not my enemy this day. As she tucks the pendant away, Badger, in the back of your head, you just feel this uncomfortable feeling.
It sounds like he was a real bastard. You know, I don't normally condone killing, but that was an awful thing that Githzerai did. He probably deserved it.
The Githyanki is a bit lost in thought, and then she kind of snaps back to the present. Enough talking. It would seem that we have come to an agreement of sorts. I will return Renna to your custody after this meeting. And in return, you will pledge yourself to hunting the Illithids.
Yes, about
and
that.
We will be watching.
Yes, no doubt. Where are we getting our mission brief on the whole Illithid hunting thing? Because, you know, is it a nest of Illithids? Is it a colony? Is it a whole world's worth of Illithids just sort of hiding underground, getting ready to come out at everybody? Like, what are we talking about here?
The Githyanki kind of looks to you, and I suspect that is for you to find out.
Now, one thing I learned about leadership is you need to have SMART goals. You need to be able to measure your goals so that you know when you've achieved it. I said this is very ill-defined, Hunter, as it is.
Let us consider this then.
Mm.
You do everything in your power to root out and find the source of the infestation. And then,
Yes.
once you know where that is,
Yes.
you bring it to our attention, and we will do the rest. Do you agree?
Perfect. Yes, that's much better defined. It's a deal.
The Githyanki nods, looks to Shana. Shana nods. And Zinaleth, then we are in agreement, she says. She steps forward, approaches you, holds a hand out.
How long has it been?
Huh?
Has it been 5 minutes yet?
Yeah, give or take.
Like,
Yeah, she offers a hand for a handshake. To partnership, she says.
Okay, partnership. And Badger.
And like,
hand forward.
your hand is dwarfed by this Githyanki's armored hand, and like the metal is cold and sharp as it kind of wraps around your hand, and like you, actually no, beg my pardon. She takes her gauntlet off, places it on the side. You shake hands, and like, yeah, she's looking down at you. You're shaking hands, and like you chance to look over at Shana, and Shana's like, ooh, and you look back to Zinaleth, sorry, and like there's like a content, almost a contented look in her eyes as she shakes her hand, and then the hand gets slower, and then a look of confusion spreads across the Githyanki's face, and she stops, still holding your hand. And like, she looks at you, she peers at you, and like you see her eyes glow white for a moment. And you get that feeling like when Katya reads your thoughts. And the Githyanki's eyes open, and her hand, still holding yours, starts to shake and quiver. No. And the Githyanki kind of lets go of your hand as if it's hot, and she takes a step back and... It's him.
What?
What is this? How is this possible?
What?
And there's a flutter of concern through your head, Badger, as you hear, she knows.
What?
And
you're kidding me.
You're dead. I kill you.
This is why you hate the hunter, isn't it?
I'll tear your throats out. I'll kill you all. I'll kill you all.
Oh.
And as she lunges at you, we'll take a 10-minute break.
See you in 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you in
See you
10.
in 10.
Hi, Carl here. If you are enjoying the episode, hit the subscribe button down below. And if you don't, I'll be forced to cast suggestion on you.
Hit the subscribe button.
Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
I hope you're all feeling refreshed and zhuzhed, because as we find Badger and Shana in a room with a now very upset Githyanki,
That should be fine.
we will jump straight in with
I'm
an
not
initiative
liking our
roll.
I'm not liking our chances. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Oh, it's a 7 on initiative.
Oh shit, you're going straight to combat. Oh dear.
Unfortunately. Hey, she got a 6. Perfect. Love
Okay.
it.
So, as the Githyanki staggers away from you, shaking, her eyes bloodshot, the look on her face a mixture of rage, fear, confusion, and utter hatred. There's a as a sword telepathically moves back to her hand, telekinetically moves back to her hand, and as she stands, surges towards you, her face a picture of unbridled anger. She lifts her sword up, and Shana steps forward. Badger, look out! She says. She springs into action in the blink of an eye, and with one sweeping fist, she catches the Githyanki across the chin.
With a crit.
So she, and like as she does, Badger, you notice that there's a gust of wind that swarms around her hand. So the Githyanki takes 15 damage, and sort of like you feel the wind attempt to push the Githyanki back, but Zinalef kind of grinds her feet into the ground and doesn't budge. Shana, like with the punch, then spins on the spot, brings up a foot, which is parried by the Githyanki. A surprise elbow comes out.
Oh god.
Crit
and
the Githyanki catches an arm and a leg, and as a last-ditch attempt, Shana attempts a backflip to kick under the chin.
Come on, crit again. Oh, almost.
Almost. It catches her. The Githyanki takes 5 damage and is knocked back 10 feet by the crushing blow. And then Shana kind of lands back on her feet, free of the Githyanki's grasp. And she looks at you and, "Stay behind me, Badger," she says. Zinalef staggers back, spits the blood onto the floor, and kind of bares her teeth. Badger, what do you do?
Badger sort of says, Shana, no! We have to get out of here! We can't fight her!
Like, Shana is keeping up a defensive pose, and you see it like she's trying to look at you, but she doesn't want to take her eyes off the Githyanki.
I guess, is there a window?
There are, but they're small and barred. So you'd be able to get people's attention.
Yeah?
And the windows are
Yeah. Okay.
there and there. So you can just about see out, like under the trees, you could probably just about see the Warhounds.
I think Badger's instinct is probably going to be to, I don't know, run from these people. Then again, they do have dragons. Actually, I think what she'd actually want to do is she'd probably stop about there and say, I understand this is very upsetting for you, but I promise he's going to atone for what he did. We don't have to do this.
Okay. Persuasion?
Okay. Sure. I'm great at persuasion. Oh, thanks. Normal? Presume I don't think I've got an inspiration, have I? No, I don't. It's a 12!
Okay. So you say those words. We'll wait until Zinaleth's turn to find out what she says. Anything else, Badger?
Oh. That's a bit tricky to know what to do for the rest of my turn unless she responds, is the thing.
She's turned to look to you.
Aren't you dodge as a bonus action?
I can, but it would be a bit of a waste of my... Unless that was my action, trying to persuade her.
Can you hold a stunning strike? Is it a possibility?
No, you can hold a... Can you hold an attack?
Yeah, as a reaction.
But then stunning strike is something you choose to do after
once you've made
the attack. Yeah.
Which you can even do on retaliatory strikes. So even attack of opportunities, you can do stunning strikes.
Yeah.
But Dan, was that my action trying to persuade her?
It would have been, yes.
Yeah. So I'll probably spend a key point to bonus action patient defense. So I'm dodging.
Okay. In which case, so as you say, heal a tone. Zinaleth looks to you and murderer! She screams. She lifts a hand up. You watch as a ring of light appears around you, and you can see Zinaleth's eyes glowing white as well, brimming with psionic power. And then the ring kind of moves it, tightens in on you. So if you could give me it's a grapple check, basically. So if I could have however you want to try and dodge the grapple, dexterity or acrobatics or athletics.
Yeah, definitely acrobatics, please.
Okay.
Drop me to... I can do it. Or...
Yeah, so, because for all intents and purposes, it's a long wall of text, but it's a big bee's hand.
Big bee's hand. Okay.
A telepathic hand. Psionic hand.
That's a 19.
Okay. So, as this force closes around on you, it gets advantage because you're small, and attackers win contests. So it's a 19 and a 13. So, she puts her hand out. This light appears around you, and it tightens around your throat, and you find yourself lifted up off the ground as she tries to choke the life out of you, and you can see her hyperventilating as she does it. Shana steps in and tries to help, and she punches the Githyanki, who doesn't respond. She punches again, but the Githyanki bats her hand away with a swift parry. She brings in a third punch, which rocks Zinaleth a bit more for 7 damage. This one, she tries to knock the Githyanki with her teachings of the elemental arbor. She attempts to
She just takes out a book and just starts reading.
So water surrounds.
Learning.
Water surrounds her foot as she brings it up and kind of brings it down on Zinaleth, but Zinaleth stands firm. And last but not least, she tries to swing one last time, and Zinaleth just stops her hand. Zinaleth will, off the back of that third attack, make a
concentration
saving throw and passes. So Badger, you're still being choked, and Zinaleth, wild-eyed at the end of Shana's turn, looks to Shana and swings her greatsword down, catching Shana on the arm.
Boy.
Wow.
As Shana takes 37 damage from the first blow.
Holy shit.
And Zinaleth, I watched them dissolve. I watched them unravel like blood in water. Badger, what do you do?
Do I get to make another check to try and escape the grapple?
As an action, you can attempt to break the grapple, yes.
Yep. Okay, let's try. It's an 18.
Okay. The contested grapple up.
Okay.
You as you try to pull at the light, you just find yourself kind of hovering above the table, and like as you float, kind of looking at the fight between the Zinleth and Shana, Githyanki, just to no one in particular, just, you took everything from me. They were like my family. Anything else, Badger?
Yeah, Badger's probably scrabbling at this tight, whatever it is, kind of binding round, this sort of psionic binding round her neck, and is trying to gasp, Shana, don't! Just run! Just run, Shana! And she's going to reach out her hand and use her bonus action to summon Azarad.
Holy shit.
And she says,
Apologize.
And Azarad, like as you reach out, the arm, your tattoo seeps down your arm as the spectre of Azarad steps forward, and you see Zinlet's eyes all but bulge from her head.
It's him you want. Me. Let her go.
And as Azarad materializes, he holds his hands out and, I told you we weren't done, he says.
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
As Azarad materializes, Balthazar, you see a flash of light. Like you hear shouting, like screeching. There's a flash of light from the keep just up ahead. So we will add all of you lots to the initiative tracker.
God. I got 0 initiative.
16.
0.
So yeah, there's Badger's turn. Okay, so yeah.
I
Cool.
love how Foundry like gives us a disappointed nose when anybody rolls a one. That's so funny.
So Badger, as you summon Azarad and he kind of glowers at Zenleth, I'll kill you, she says, and she just brings her greatsword up and she swings it down on Azarad.
31.
Oh god. What is that? Plus 12?
And like, so
Lord.
yeah, she swings it down at Azarad, and like Badger, you've seen this happen before. The sword bisects the spirit in front of you, whose eyes are glowing brighter than you've ever seen them before. And like as the sword embeds in the ground, Azarad hasn't moved, and his form blasts around like it's in a wind and then reforms. And he says, "You'll have to try harder than that." And she and brings the sword round in a wide swipe. It passes through Azarad and embeds into the flank of Shana.
God, I'm gonna have to kill this person.
And
Hopefully
Shana,
get there before she kills Shana.
Yeah.
Shana drops to like one knee as she takes this blow.
So Badger's been secretly hiding the fact that she can go Super Saiyan, right?
And
yeah.
Zinleth, like is all but frothing at the mouth, like her eyes are just utterly bloodshot. At the sound of the screaming, Drool, what do? Because the Githyanki are kind of stood going, and like looking up into the keep, wondering what's happening. Like the dragons appearing up as well.
I think a dog can somewhat get away with running off. So Drool, it's 45. Then he's going to run off 65.
The Githyanki make a noise as his dog shoots in.
Yeah, 80. That's as far as he can go.
Okay. So as Drool's halfway up the stairs, Slate is going to... Elle, this is for you. Slate turns around and... Chiron turns around and... Now, there's no need to panic, he says as he brings his arms down and starts drawing attention away from the keep towards himself, and like the Githyanki are kind of looking backwards and forwards. The dragons are now looking at Chiron as Slate just tries to keep everyone focused on him. Balthazar.
Balthazar won't budge. He'll go, hey, what was that? You think Balthazar's in trouble? And that will be my turn.
Okay. Emily?
Emily is probably going to point up at the window and say, should that be happening?
There is angry screaming coming from the upstairs.
You know what? No, actually, I take it back. What Emily would do, someone is in trouble. And she's going to aim her crossbow and shoot blindly into the window.
God.
Okay.
Oh no, you're gonna hit Shana, aren't you?
I really hope
She's gonna be the killing blow.
Roll to hit. Roll to hit.
Jesus.
I mean, this is Emily we're talking about. Like, it's probably going to ricochet off. She's going to turn into dead shot from like
There's a 5%. There's a 5% chance this is a crit, so let's go for it.
I mean, I'm gonna argue it's probably a bit of a disadvantage because she's aiming at
you get
high and nothing.
You get +5
right?
+5 for full cover, so you can still crit. Is what I'm hoping for.
Okay, so just normal disadvantage.
Normal. I'm taking 5 off it for the full 3/4 cover.
Oh my god, Emily!
Okay, right. So, so where is Emily? So Emily is here.
Either Shana or Badger.
So,
frankly,
that high should be fine, shouldn't it?
Roll a d6. Roll a d6 to
Badger
see who
can take
hits.
it. It's fine. Badger will forgive her.
God, 10 damage.
Roll a d6 to see who it hits.
I think.
Well, tell you what, Badger. There's as like this bolt ricochet flies into the room, and you see it. A missile weapon is about to hit you, Badger.
This is just my forte. Yeah, Badger's gonna attempt to deflect a missile.
And you catch this bolt,
Finally.
and you immediately recognise it as Emily's.
If you get it to 0, can't you throw it?
Yeah.
If you can use your reaction to throw it, yeah.
Do I have to throw it back in the same direction?
No.
I don't think so. Emily's just providing you with ammo.
Okay, so I'm going to use a key point as I grab it to throw it at the hunter.
So yeah, you should have a deflect missiles attack.
I do indeed. That is a 23.
Holy shit.
Nice.
Force only 6 piercing damage.
So this
Right in her
bolt
face.
comes in, and like there's a moment of like, what? But then as you look, you can see so Shana's like on the ground, and like as Zeroleth pulls the sword from Shana's flank, like she looks up to you just as you like throw this bolt, and it hits Zeroleth like just in the neck.
Whee.
I can imagine like Hiram's like, Emily, you can't shoot wildly. I didn't. I know what I'm doing.
I'm helping.
I'm helping.
Yeah, Zinnis must make a con check.
Does she now?
Yes.
She's very good at them.
Okay, so this bolt kind of whizzes past and like catches her neck, and she hisses.
Leave Shana alone!
Oh, she's got
Shana-
+9. She has to roll a 1 to fail. Oh my god.
Shana kind of gets, like, picks herself up and, like, steps backwards towards you, like, turns to you, Badger, like, holding, and there's blood gushing down her side, and she turns back to the hunter and pulls up and dodges. You notice, like, as she steps in, she steps into the silhouette of Azarad, and Zinalef, I'll kill you! And she swings at Azarad. It passes through his form, but Shana sees it coming and dodges out the way, and the sword embeds in the ground. That was her legendary action. Zumbo?
Yeah. So, what has Zumbo got to go on? So there's been a big flash in the window. We can hear loud screaming. Can we hear like swords and combat and stuff?
You can definitely hear what sounds like combat going on.
And what are the Githyanki do? Are they just standing there listening?
The Githyanki are kind of stood around a bit dumbstruck because it's all the same as you lot, because it's all happened so suddenly. But like, you notice the dragon rider on your right, like the knight, like turns to look at you lot, accuser, like in an accusing manner, and like bares his teeth.
Right. I guess what I'm asking is, would Zumbo think that these Githyanki are about to turn hostile? He's wondering whether to escalate.
This dragon rider looks like he's about to escalate. The others look a bit confused. You notice the ones that are part of the hunters group look confused. The ones that were part of Kutanoth's group look worried. Panicked even.
Okay, so who is of Kurnoff's group that's still around?
So
particularly on the left-hand side of me.
So this chappy here. Not that Knight Rider.
Is it spiky hair for Karnoth, down hair for Hunter?
Annoyingly, no.
Ah.
But yeah, this one on his own in the middle. The three on the far side. This dragon's disappeared because it's already flown off. And the Gish, and Karnoth himself.
Okay. The ones in front of us look distracted, do they?
Yeah, they're looking up, trying to figure out what's happening. So the knights are looking up, wondering what's happening. The warriors are looking to the west in a panicked look. And you notice their eyes are all kind of focused on the urns.
On the urns.
Just kind of clustered around, kind of here.
Do you want to let Katya go and then maybe you can go after?
Yeah, go on then, Katya. If you know what you're going to do.
Katya,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Listening to the noise, Katya steps down to here, looks over to Karnoth, and Karnoth!
The old Githyanki kind of looks over and, what's happening?
It sounds like someone is not being in good faith and is attacking our delegates. Will you let this stand?
Kutanoth looks to you as you say it. Like, he looks up to the room and you hear him swear. You assume it is some sort of Gith swear, like profanity that he spits out. Because the female Githyanki next to him flinches almost. And he sort of shouts to. He points across the courtyard to the Githyanki warrior in front of you. You go check on them, he says, and he wheels to the three behind him and says, "You make sure the eggs are safe." Anything else, Katya?
I will hold an action with the trigger should anyone go hostile.
Okay. Matt, let me know if you want to jump in.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and I think use the distraction Katya's created to just try and sneak past these two guys into the fort.
Yeah, I mean,
try and check on Badger.
You can just go because everyone's just looking in different directions.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So I'll bonus action dash to get to there.
Okay. As you run into the room, you can see Drool on the steps. Across the room from you, the other end of it, what appears to be this kind of hall, Ren is sat on a chair going, "Oh, I know you. Hello."
Okay. Is this chap here one of Karnoth's?
That is one of Zinaleth's.
Okay, fine. So I'm gonna shout over to Rennet. Hey, Rennet, do you remember me? Do you want to go for another one of our walks?
Oh, as she goes to get up, you hear the footstep as the Githyanki knight steps forward towards you, and he, "Not so fast," he says.
Yeah, don't try it, buddy. I'm having a tough day.
And
I'll just pull my rapier out and ready in action to hit him if he comes at me.
Okay.
And that's me.
Hiram.
Hiram is going to dash.
Okay.
So that's going to be all the way to next to this guy.
Haste when you need it.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping for a haste. but-
Actually, then I'm going to trigger my thing instead then, and it's the last of my level 3s though. Have a haste.
Okay. So are you dashing? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I am still dashing.
Yeah.
So I assume it's these. Yep.
Whoop.
Amazeballs.
Well, I mean, you should have now double movement, so.
Yeah, I'm just counting.
A wild Hiram appears at the door.
Okay. So Badger, you like as you are held like a few feet above the ground, the door swings open violently, and like you see Hiram with that blur about him, that motion blur. And Hiram, you see Badger like being force choked above this table. You see Shana like woozily like swaying from side to side, and you see Azarad in a almost Tony Stark pose.
Counting, I can be in the room. I can actually be here.
Yes!
Okay.
Tilda, Hiram gets an action, by the way.
Even with a dash?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
In that case, what's going to happen is Hiram's going to bust in, stop there, and go lay on hands on Shana.
Okay. How much?
Is going to be 26.
26 hit points. Oh.
Thanks, Anton.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah, Hiram, you run in, assessing the situation. You grab Shana and yeah, a healing light encapsulates you. Badger.
Right. So, I need to use my action to try and get out of the grapple, right? And Azarad's not corporeal at all. He can't touch things apart from whacking.
Yeah, normally he he would disperse upon if he's hit, but he just seems to be taunting Zinaleth right now.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try and get out of this grapple with my acrobatics check. So I get a 20. Of course, she gets a 24. Cool. Right. Oh, hang on. I know exactly what I need to do. So I've tried to get out of the grapple and I just can't do it. And I watch Hiram burst in and kind of heal Shana up a little bit. And basically, Badger's going to look at Azarad and then she's going to close her eyes and attempt to teleport to Azarad's position.
Okay.
Which is a thing Badger can do and has never done before.
Ah.
Yeah.
So I think this is kind of a bit of a leap of faith moment in their relationship. So yeah, that's going to be my bonus action. It's going to be
okay.
That.
In which case, as you see Azrad just kind of confidently walking forwards towards Zinaleth, you close your eyes and you feel yourself. There's a tugging, and you're teleported out of the light. The ring of light kind of disappears and just kind of becomes a floating ring again. And you drop to one knee, stood next to Shana.
And presumably Azarad disappears back onto my arm at that point?
No.
Oh, flip. Well, anyway, I'm quite pleased. Hiram, Badger, and Azarad are now between the hunter and Shana. And she sort of looks up from her kneeling position and says, "You leave her alone!" That's it.
As you rise to your feet and say that, like Shana looks to you, Hiram, as you've healed her, and like Zinleth's eyes are all but bulging out of her head, and she's just chanting, "I killed you! I killed you! I killed you! Murderer!" And Azarad smiles. "How dare you wear my weapon as a trinket," he says. And he holds a hand out, and like Zinleth tries to swipe his hand away, and it just through his arm. And like as he reaches towards her like her breastbone, and like you see the pendant rise out of her collar, and start almost to levitate towards his open palm. And like he quietly says, "Thank you for giving me your strength, Badger."
Wait.
And his hand grips around the crystal, and there's a crack as he crushes the crystal in his palm.
Did you just?
Oh.
Oh no! What is this?
Oh no!
Oh dear.
Oh my god!
Hiram,
Holy
you are blown back by an explosion straight out of the room. Azarad vanishes. Badger and Shana, you are both blown backwards by the explosion. And Zinaleth smashes through the wall and lands in the courtyard.
Oh,
god!
jeez. Oh no.
I require Hiram, Shana, Badger, and Zinaleth to make
Oh no.
DC 13 Constitution saves, please.
Right.
Elemental fissure?
Oh, that's not a good thing.
It's not good.
Definitely cannot be a good thing.
Doesn't sound great. What?
Oh.
It's just DC 13, people. Remember, anyone.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Where is Hiram in the grand scheme of things compared to the others? I can't see him.
I am on top of the stairs.
So if I do that, DC 13 Constitution saves,
I
please.
don't like this at all. It's only a 7 from Badger.
Oh. Yes.
7.
Oh
Solid.
gosh.
Okay, so Badger, at point blank range, you take 33 damage, psychic damage. Shana takes half, so 16. Hiram, you take half. And
Oh no.
Zinaleth
Oh,
takes 33.
oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh,
As
dear.
and also she fell
Oh, yeah.
she fell 20 feet, so she takes another 5 damage as she hits the ground. So anything else, Badger?
Me? I think I've done quite enough, don't you? I don't think I've got any. Oh, I've got some movement left, so I'm going to crawl to Shana probably and
Okay.
check she's all right,
So
and look around for Hiram.
So as everyone else, you watch as the upstairs room of this keep explodes in a rainbow, multicolored, like chroma explosion, sending debris and bits of keep in all directions. The Githyanki are knocked off their feet. The dragon to the side of you kind of flaps off in a panic, and you watch as the form of the hunter is propelled through a wall down into the courtyard below. You then watch as you peer in and can see this glowing crater that spans both floors. You watch as some of the lights begin to coalesce into shapes of some sort. And Zinaleth like pulls herself up, and like you can see that she's like her armor is rent and torn, and like she's got burn marks across her. And as you all look up, you watch as these glowing shapes that have coalesced within the crater. As they move out, you see one of them kind of touch the stone of the keep that's still standing, and you watch as the stone begins to morph into fire, into water, lightning, air. The elements themselves are being distorted and warped. And Balthazar, as you look up, through your knowledge, this looks like the description of the elemental chaos.
Okay.
This is a chaos bomb, for want of a better word. The hunter, like, slowly gets up, sees what's happening, and then just, like, wounded. Give me that dragon, she says, and she thrusts her hand out and knocks the knight flying, and then climbs onto the back of this dragon. And what does Drool do?
Drool's just sort of like at the stairs now after hearing the explosion, and just like, in his doggy mind, he's like, nope. Sees Zumbo pointing his rapier, so slowly walks down the stairs, and that sort of doggy, nope. Comes to stand next to Zumbo, looks at him, looks to the guard, and will ready an action if the guard goes hostile on Zumbo.
Okay.
So Drool falls down next to Zumbo, starts snarling. Ooh, does Zumbo want to ride Drool?
Charge!
That's an option. Anything else, Drool?
Nope, I'll ready an action. If Zumbo wishes to get on his back, he will follow Zumbo's commands.
Okay. In which case, as at the explosion, Chiron is kind of the concussive force knocks him backwards onto his arse, and as he sprawls out, scrabbles to his feet, and everyone stay calm! He shouts. Balthazar.
Okay, so I'm going to use Arcane Abjuration on the Elemental Chaos, which I think may work. We'll see. I can present at a Elemental within 30 feet.
Interesting.
It needs to make a saving throw, and it may or may not disappear.
Okay. In which case, there are four
Sure.
coalesced blobs so far. So you pick one.
I'll just choose this one.
This
I'll
one
just
there,
choose
yeah.
the bottom one.
Okay, so as you kind of hold your hand out and you practice your unweaving, you manage to kind of pull apart the frayed tethers that bind this magic together, and it kind of disappears. Disperses. Anything else, Balthazar?
Nothing. Oh, you did have to make a DC 16 save. Do you want to make it?
Yes.
It goes.
It goes.
Okay. No, I'll stick by Emily. I'll move slightly forward just to, like that.
Okay.
Done. I'll do Shillelagh as well. Yeah.
Okay, as you cast the spell and the vines kind of wrap around your staff, you watch as the three remaining coalesced elemental chaoses begin drifting towards you.
Oh. Hi there. That's for turn.
Okay. Yes, Emily.
Shoot an elemental chaos.
I'd rather not.
Might be worth a go.
I think. You know what? I actually am going to do a weird thing. I'm going to roll for Emily to see if she's actually brave enough to be part of this fight.
Okay.
Because with the explosions and the chaos and everything going on, I think this is definitely not a good.
If it's a fear, I'd ask for a
Wisdom?
wisdom save.
Oh, wisdom is much worse. Okay.
Oh no.
That's a 14.
Okay, she's fine.
Okay. In
She's
which
shaken,
case
but
she.
she's fine.
In which case she is going to stand in front of Balthazar and say, "It's okay. I will protect you." And she is going to use helpful, first things first. which I'm going to put in the chat just so we know where it is.
Okay.
And then, yeah, she is going to shoot one of these guys and see what happens.
Yeah.
What is it you're shooting, sorry?
One of the fishes.
Okay. So she lifts her crossbow up, she pulls the trigger, the bolt flies towards it. As it gets close, you realise the rift is about 10 feet in diameter, and the material of the bolt just starts to transmute. So the bolt catches fire, but it burns with ice. And the bolt just evaporates.
Well,
And
that's fun.
It seems like the bonds that bind those materials together were just unraveled.
Well, at least it's a warning to the people standing near them that maybe it's time to skedaddle. Okay,
Yeah,
well, that's
yeah.
Emily.
Cool. So, as that happens, the elemental chaos, the elemental fissures, one of them, they begin to move out. 2, 3, 4. Where's the last one? There it is. 2, 3. They begin to drift out into the courtyard. One of them floats over the Githyanki knight that's he's been knocked down by the explosion because of his proximity, and as he stands up, he looks up and as the multicolored light swarms over him, and you see him just kind of engulfed by the rift.
Oh my god.
He takes so what is that? That's a charisma save, which he fails, and you watch as this fissure rolls over the Githyanki, and he as all the matter in his body begins to warp and mutate, and he just disappears, disintegrates into molecules.
Oh wow.
Another one reaches the red dragon, which kind of rears back and roars. So this time it's a dexterity check. The dragon passes it and sort of flaps itself away, but it takes 17 cold damage. And the dragon kind of roars and kind of steps away from it, taking the knight with it in a bit of a panic. As this happens, you watch as another orb coalesces in the crater. It would appear that there is a rift to the elemental chaos here. Shana. You two are over the crater.
Oh.
Okay.
You put us there.
Yeah. So actually,
how
everyone would
silly of
see.
you.
Okay.
So Badger
We've
and
fallen
Shana
down, have we?
are actually downstairs.
Yeah.
So, Shana just she's just not in a particularly good way. She's just going to slowly pick herself up, and then she turns to you. Badger, we have to go, she says.
Yes.
Zumbo.
Zumbo is going to look at his wooden leg and then make eye contact with Jewel and say, "We never tell anyone about this, especially not Katya." And he's going to swing his wooden leg over Jewel.
Jewel shakes his head. You have my word. But all you hear is...
And Rapier, he's kind of clinging on very unsteadily. And Rapier in the air just sort of...
Jousting time.
Do you hold your rapier as a lance and your hat in the other hand?
Are you charging the knight on drawback?
100% I am, yeah.
Okay, so as Drawl pounds the ground and flies towards the Githyanki knight, Zumbo, make your attack.
Sure. Oh, yes.
Oh,
In that case, yeah, I was supposed to say...
amazing!
The
Yeah,
difference
just
in-
Oh, wow.
This is incredible.
the end of your rapier's got the bullhead appearance.
I can't believe a double. Well, sort of a double crit. Crit attack
Okay.
and max damage. That's
Wow.
incredible.
Okay, so Zumbo, as you crit the Githyanki Knight, as the ball the translucent ball forms around the two of you. If you could roll your damage, please.
Yeah. Okay, so it's that's a bit better than last time, I think.
So 12 thunder damage. Yeah, that all looks right. Cool. Okay,
And
so
then,
it takes that, and then sneak attack.
Sneak attack, yeah. It's just 2d6 at the moment. So
But you get an extra
4d6.
one for the crit.
46. Yeah.
4d6, yeah. Ugh, okay, not bad.
Another 13.
And the 19
and
for the
then
force.
he gets hit by 19 force.
Guy just erupt.
Uh,
Shredded.
and
then he
he's
gets.
knocked back. Okay, so
Oh.
yeah, as the two of you slam into this Githyanki Knight, he's picked up, he's launched, and he. I'll push him 10 feet because you crit. And he's just like he slides across the ground. He bangs up against some disused furniture in the corner, and he's just like he's still conscious, but he's clearly hurting. Anything else, Zumbo?
Renner, time to go. We're leaving. Get on.
Okay. And she, is he going to be all right?
Yeah, he's fine. Just resting.
Okay. Next up is Katya.
Oh God.
The hunter has just been blown from the first story of this keep. Has landed as GTA abducted someone's dragon.
Does she look like she's about to get out of dodge?
It looks it.
Okay, so she's not a problem anymore. The big rift is. I imagine she's kind of freaking out, like, "What the just happened?"
Yeah, you're shouting that as you kind of look over at Zinaleth on the back of the Red Dragon. You can also see Karnoff, who's just, he's normally like this murky green, but he's gone white, just as this keep exploded into bubbles. Like,
She looks to Karnoff for. I guess she looks to Karnoff just for, like, what the hell? What do we do now?
as you look at, like, he's white, like, and he turns around and the eggs, protect the eggs.
He's psionic, isn't he?
Yes.
So I guess she'll try to telepathically to communicate with him.
Okay.
And she'll be like, "What do we do with the hunter? Or what are you doing with the hunter? Are you just letting her go?"
So you're telepathically talking to him.
Yes.
He's panicking and he just shouts, like, replies back to you, "Fuck her! The eggs!" He shouts.
Okay. Just go scurrying past the dragon like, and she's like, goes to him, grabs him, as he's much taller than her. Then let's save the children.
Okay. And, like, you can see that the Githyanki warriors to your, like, to just off to the side of you, they're all sort of, like, holding an urn each. They appears to be like these are the last urns. But they haven't got a, like, they're looking up at the ship, but they don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
And I guess she'll, the rest of her dashing, go to help with grabbing the urns.
Okay. So, and you, like, it's heavy, but anything else?
No, with my measly 8 strength, I will try to lift an urn.
So, as you try to lift it up, yeah, like, one of the Githyanki, like, hisses at you. But as that happens, Hiram, you are, like, you are on your back in the, like, on the landing that you just came in from. In front of you, the room is radiated with rainbow lights, and, like, there's a pulsing, and, like, the floor's gone, the walls are gone. Badger and Shana are gone.
Am I still hasted?
You are.
Okay. I'm gonna skedaddle.
Okay.
I know. I'm gonna start running downstairs, thinking like, what the fuck?
As you come down the stairs, you can see Zumbo and Drool. Like Zumbo on Drool's back, with like Zumbo's got one hand on Drool's collar and he's holding Renna's hand with his other, and like the three of them look up to you as if they've just been caught doing something.
Yeah, here is gonna stop for a second. Look at that. Never mind. Badger, Shana. I'm trying to find them.
To your left, as you look down the corridor, you can see that it's also glowing with kind of chroma radiation, like elemental chaos, and you can't see them. All you can see is you can see the rubble of like the bits of the keep, but like what you're starting to notice is that you're watching the rock as it melts into what looks like water, but then becomes like a liquid lightning, and then kind of reforms into ice, which begins floating, and just like all the stone just seems to be mutating and morphing.
Okay, I think I'm gonna continue running to see if they're maybe in the courtyard.
Okay.
And I think I'm gonna go this far.
Okay. This guy is clearly over here somewhere on his ass because he's just been blown away by
That makes a lot more sense.
point blank explosion. Him as well.
And then, oh god. Oh dear Lord.
You can now see floating motes of like, it's chaos. That's the only way you can describe it. Floating clouds of chaos kind of ebbing out. It's a bit like Jix sneezes, but amped up to 11.
Awesome. Have you seen Badger and Shana?
Chiron just... I don't know where anyone is! He shouts. We did...
Oh, amazing.
Panic! And Balthazar, you're the only one around can see you.
I can kind of see Shana. I'll go, yeah, I think she's inside where the explosion is.
Fuck! At which point here I was going to run back inside and go into the corridor here.
Okay.
Very blue episode, isn't it?
Yeah, I think... Yeah, and once again just tried Badger, Shana. And yeah, I think...
Okay. So in which case, here, as you kind of run into the ruined, the blown out corridor, as you start shouting out to Shana and Badger. Badger, what do you do?
Badger hears Hiram, presumably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you've got the tinnitus, but you can hear Hiram.
Sort of gonna pick myself up and try and support Shana to run towards Hiram's voice and call out to him in return. And so I guess we're gonna head sort of this-ish way towards where I guess there might be a door back out into the main.
Oh god, do I have enough?
Hall.
Do I have enough movement left to meet you halfway?
Don't know.
I think I do.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, we can get all the way out into that entrance hall.
You should be able to see me now.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
cool.
meet me there.
In which case, I'll move the tokens for you. So Badger and Shana, you kind of make it out onto the corridor. Badger, Hiram, Shana, Badger and Hiram really, as you kind of go into the corridor and you can see straight into the main courtyard through the bombed out room in front of you. But you can see these kind of coalesctions of magic, kind of amorphous, chaotic riffs. But you notice they seem to be getting bigger and their movements are getting more erratic.
Yeah, I think Badger's not used to seeing the elements in this much chaos. She and Shana are used to controlling the elements and harnessing them, so this is a bit alarming. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she's gonna say, "We have to go. We have to go now."
And that was my movement as an action. I would like to pick up Shana and carry her out. I'm not gonna move anymore, but I'm gonna pick her up.
Pick her up. That's a good
So,
move.
well, between the two of you, then, if you've got if you're both carrying Shana, Badger, you can basically move full speed, and Hiram you can go with, so you can kind of get out of this corridor if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Hiram and Badger, as you kind of carry Shana as best you can. Katia, you look up and you just see the hunter is looking around. She's not got a helmet on, but like her face is one of fear, like abject fear and horror, and like she's looking at the pulsating colours coming from the keep, and she like snarls. She kicks the side of the dragon's neck, and the dragon the taut snaps at her and then flaps its wings, and the hunter flies, like basically just flies directly up on the back of the dragon. and like you hear the sounds of other Githyanki. Wait! As she flies off and leaves the combat. Drool, you have a halfling on your back.
Drool will defer his turn to Zumbos.
Okay. Chiron, seeing everything that's happening, he gingerly kind of rushes forward. He puts a hand on a tree for support, and then this way. He's shouting, kind of wildly beckoning Hiram and Badger and Shana over. Balthazar, what do you do?
I'm gonna arcane abjure this one.
Hey.
Yeah.
So using my second channel divinity.
Oh my god, MVP.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you cast your spells. You recoalesce that. Like as you do that and kind of disperse one of the other elemental chaos nodes, you can see that the dragon to your right, the one being ridden, there's a big flap as that dragon takes off. You notice the two dragons behind you. Their riders mount up and they take off into the air as well.
Okay. Does it look like the elemental blobs are interested in me again?
It doesn't. No. You realise it seemed to be when you cast magic.
Okay. That is my turn.
Okay. At this point, at this junction, what is everyone's plan? Just get the hell out of Dodge?
I think getting the hell out is probably a really good plan right now.
I'm gonna throw Emily into the elemental blob.
Excuse me.
Sorry, no, that's not what I meant. I meant run away.
Okay, so going down through the list, as Hiram, Badger, and Shana make their way out, Zumbo, are you escorting Renner out as well?
Yeah, I mean, trying to dismount, not very gracefully, probably, but just falling off and then helping Renner and Drool up.
Cool. Okay, so as you make your way out the keep, everyone kind of gathers up. Katya, you're on the other side of the courtyard that is now distinctly less dragon-filled. The Githyanki are looking to cut an off, and what do we do? They say, like, holding the eggs, and cut an off just like a bit paralyzed with fear.
Katya calls out to him using counter charm. She's like, "Cut off! Focus!"
Okay. He kind of snaps to. He looks to you, and you, he says, pointing at the knight and the Gish. Take an egg each, he says, and the knight and Gish wrestle two of the urns away from the others. He steps up to you and says, "You have my thanks," he says, and he takes the urn off you as well. So the three of them are holding urns each. And then he looks down to you, raises an eyebrow, and "Good luck," he says. And the three of them look at one another, and they all vanish in front of you as they plane shift away, leaving the three warriors behind. And they, wait, what?
Come with us. You'll be safe.
There are more eggs down in the basements. And you see two of them heading over. The other one is just kind of stood talking to you. We can't leave without them.
How far away is Slate? Perfect.
Right.
She throws a message to Slate. Slate, what's the biggest thing you can be?
Slate.
Camel.
With plenty of carrying capacity.
Giant kangaroo.
Or kangaroo.
He looks at you, and a giant snake.
Can you move quickly as a giant snake? And can you carry a lot as a giant snake?
Maybe.
Then get over here and turn into a giant neathing snake.
As you shout that, like, Chiron goes to head over. Balthazar, you now also notice that the elemental chaos is exponentially expanding in size and becoming more erratic and volatile. It seems like a second explosion is due. As Chiron begins to run over.
Do I feel like a dispel magic would do some stuff? Is this a magical effect?
Not really. It's just like the oxygen of the elemental chaos.
Yeah, it's elemental. Yeah. All right, we're just gonna head out.
Okay. Is anyone else shouting to Katya and Chiron?
Yeah, I would like to know what they are doing.
What's going on? We have to go!
There are children to be saved.
There are children?
Well, they're still eggs, but yes.
How disastrous would it be if we went to help the children?
You've seen that the elemental chaos is looking more and more erratic by the moment.
How about some of us try and hold it back and the rest of you go?
Just buy us a few minutes. A few moments.
How?
I don't know. Balthazar's magic.
Balthazar is saving Emily.
Okay, who's going with Katya to help the Githyanki retrieve eggs?
See, Badger's really fast, but she's also very small. So I'm not sure how much good she'll be. She would probably try.
Yeah, here, Badger, take Betty with you. She might be able to help.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
Badger
if
will.
you're going, then I'm picking up Shana and just carrying her out of here.
Yeah.
Because she can't take any more damage.
That's
Okay.
fine.
So Hiram, Shana, they're going. Emily's going. Shana's going. Renna, who's Renna going with?
Us, I guess.
Well, if whoever's going to safety, Zumbo's going to try and hold the elemental things back.
Sure. Why not?
So I'm going to wait till Katya's going to wait till Hiram is out of sight and out of the area, because obviously it's going to hit Hiram hard. But she's going to readjust haste onto Slate.
Okay.
So
Are you doing this when I'm carrying goddamn Shana?
when you're out, that's what I said. When you're far enough away, so when you're outside of the fort and away, that's when she's gonna.
So Katya, Badger, Slate, they are. You lot are heading to help the Githyanki.
Yeah.
Everyone else is getting the hell out of Dodge from the keep.
Dan?
Yeah, she'll cast it on Slate at the last possible moment, so that we have a super slithery snake.
Yes, Anton.
So plenty of time for Hiram.
Balthazar will hand over Emily to Hiram. And say, I got an idea. And he'll head back.
I am holding Shana, people!
Yeah, it's fine. Here you go.
Just drop Emily in front of you.
You just put Emily on top of Shana as I'm carrying her.
Pretty much, yeah. And Balthazar will start casting Magic Circle. And try and... I don't know if this is going to work, but try and contain... So this is kind of a strange spell, but it works against elementals. And it helps to contain elementals. Keep them in or out. I want to keep them in the circle.
Okay, so Balthazar, you step forward, you see this thrumming mist, you see the elemental chaos ripping itself away from the crater, you see it growing larger and larger, you see the forms moving about, chunks of the keep are beginning to pull themselves away from the foundations, are beginning to float around whilst morphing through the various elemental types. Badger, Katya, Chiron, as you disappear down into these catacombs on the side along with the Githyanki, the rest of you begin to book it away from the keep, and like Balthazar, you find yourselves in the courtyard alone. And like over the space of the next minute, you concentrate and you watch as the elemental magics begin gravitating towards you closer and closer and closer. At 58 seconds, you open your eyes, and they are blazing blue, and as you slam the staff down on the ground...
Go Zeus, come on!
We'll call it there.
Ah! Oh, wow.
That's just mean.
Ooh. This is a spell I'd never thought I'd use, and then it was
So
like,
cool
I read the
that
word
you
elemental,
got
and I was
to
like,
use it.
wait a minute!
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice idea.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Oh no.
Elsewhere, in Suzail, in the College of the War Wizards, a young war wizard runs through the halls, huffing and puffing as he goes into one of the meeting rooms. As he throws open the doors, he shouts, Major! I'm sorry for interrupting, but a moment of your time, he says. And Gandrahast looks up, sat across from King Ezered. I'm in a meeting, boy, and I've told you how I feel about interruptions. There's been a massive surge of elemental energy from the Stormhorns. We felt it all the way from here. And Gandrahast waves his hand. Why are you coming to bother me about this? Speak to the other war wizards, boy. Stop wasting my time, he says. And Ezered looks up and, elemental energy, you say? Tell me more. As the young boy begins explaining everything, sat on a lounger in the corner, an older woman in a black and yellow dress listens curiously as she unrolls a letter that says, he didn't catch the girl, but he's back in Suzail if you want to talk to him. And Ursula smiles as she thinks of her dear, sweet little Quentin. Oh, he must have some stories for me. And she smiles. Congratulations, everyone, on completing session 22.
Oh, that was awesome.
Gee,
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, man.
unexpected.
There were Githyanki, there were dragons, there was some elemental shit, it was everything.
I thought the Githyanki were the bad ones and the Githzerai were the good ones. Now I've got no idea.
Azrad apparently is a bad one,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, the petrol we needed for that fire was Ezered.
He was not on our list of possible BBEGs, was he? We'll have to
No.
update it.
No, really not. On the other hand, the elemental fishes look really, really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great special
Some
effects.
really pretty lighting and everything.
Thank you. Cool. So, yes, thank you everyone for playing. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I guess next week we'll find out exactly what happened in those final 2 seconds of Balthazar's spellcasting. But until then...
The dubious newly found spellcasting.
Yes. Right. Yes. Thank you all, and I will see you all next week.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was dramatic, wasn't it? I guess come back next week, if there even is a next week. Once again, you have my thanks for getting this far through the video. Please hit the like button and comment about the episode down below. If you haven't already, check out the latest Tavern Between Dimensions episode where Carl, Anton and I get comfy and discuss RPG nerdy things. The card is just up here. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Birdie Maps, who customised the map that we use in this session. Their work was exemplary as always, so please go and check them out on the Birdie Maps Patreon. If you like this episode and want to see more, click here for another video. And regardless of whether you like the episode or not, please subscribe here, as well as hitting the bell for more notifications. With all that said, take care, and may the realms endure.